So as far as that goes, when we look at New England, okay, politics and society. Now, the main thing that you want to know here is that New England tended to be egalitarian. Okay, so egalitarian, which let's see. Well, Georgia was a relatively new colony. Now, Luke, this is a great example of something that is never going to show up on the exam. So, as far as, we're thinking in terms of exam prep, and for these fiveable sessions, especially, we're concerned about the exam. That's really not going to be a thing as far as something that would ever be asked about on the exam, like relationships between different, certain colonies and the rest of them. Don't get that deep into the weeds. Now, if you're curious about history, I think that's great, but it's not going to be on your exam. And I don't know if Georgia didn't make it, because now note that Georgia is named after King George. This was the youngest colony, so it really was only just starting. Like, I think that if you look at Benjamin Franklin's, snake during the French and Indian War, the Georgia colony is not even represented there because it wasn't even a thing. So as far as that's concerned, I wouldn't. I wouldn't worry about that in terms of that. Now, well, yeah, there were state religions, Angelina. So as far as that goes, now, I wouldn't say that I would say that New England is much more of a theocratic kind of society where religion is at the forefront. But what's important to note is before the, as far as that goes, before the American Revolution, the South, or for the First Great Awakening, the South is not really a very religious place. So, as far as the extent to which the church would meddle in the government, not so much. So I wouldn't necessarily think that it's, that if it is a theocracy, but you certainly can think of it in terms of, that there is a church that's supported by taxpayer dollars, and that that people are expected to support that church. All right, so egalitarian. Now this is, if you change the G to a Q, you've got equalitarian. All right, so they really were on like an equal footing. They made decisions together. The Mayflower Compact. Okay, so the Mayflower Compact is often seen as an example of democracy. That basically, that it was democratic. This was the most democratic part. Town meetings. Okay, so as far as that goes, that all of the people in the town would come together, the men of the town would come together, and they'd all have a discussion, they'd have a meeting. Now, you'll see in presidential election years, that tradition is still kind of strong in New Hampshire. Like, New Hampshire is, the first presidential primary. And well, actually, here's the thing, Brendan, be careful about that, because you didn't necessarily have to be wealthy or a pillar of the community to participate in a New England town meeting. Okay. Now, in the South, what you've got is more of an aristocratic. Okay. So, you've got more of an aristocratic society. And so it was dominated by large landowners. Okay. So now in New England, you didn't have that disparity between the large landowners and everyone else. But in the Southern colonies, you do have that, basically to where now the House of Burgesses, now again, the House of Burgesses was the assembly in Virginia. Now, I think that it's important to know what the House of Burgesses is, but I would not try to find out what was the name of like all of the, of the colonial legislatures. Okay. I think having the House of Burgesses as a representative example, okay, of this sort of aristocratic thing. So the House of Burgesses, okay, and that was in Virginia. Okay, the House of Burgesses was in Virginia. And, this basically, now the thing is, it's aristocratic, but it is representative government. Okay, so, that's something that that's something that we need to remember, that even though it's aristocratic, it still does fall back on some of those, English institutions of government, like, the Magna Carta and that sort of thing. All right, so the middle colonies. Now, the middle colonies, as far as that goes, you've got, Penn's frame of government. Okay, you've got Penn's frame of government. Now, Pennsylvania was a proprietary colony. Okay, so that's one thing that I would note here. Is that William Penn, he got Pennsylvania as a gift, essentially like Charles II, who, if you took AP Euro, you may remember he was the monarch that was always running out of money because he had so many mistresses and such. Penn's frame of government was was basically a frame of government. It was a constitution for Pennsylvania, because basically what happened is Charles II, the crown, owed money to William Penn's father. And so then, William Penn became a Quaker, and, he asked Charles II, well, I tell you what, you owe my family money, but in lieu of that, I will take a colony. You can give me land in the New World, and I will start a colony with it. And so then Charles II gives William Penn this grant of land, which they call Penn's Woods. And it's got, one little port at Philadelphia, but other than that, it's landlocked. But William Penn's like, we'll call it even. And Charles II gets the added bonus of being able to get rid of Quakers, because, like I said, the English aristocracy found Quakers to be very annoying with their egalitarian ways. And so essentially what you have to understand is there are three types of colonies. There is a crown colony or royal colony that's run by the king's administration directly. Then you've got, a proprietary colony. Now, this is a colony that basically somebody owns. Okay, so somebody owns a colony. And so William Penn was like the owner of Pennsylvania. And then you've got the joint stock colony. And the joint stock colony or corporate colony, that's like in Virginia. Okay, so the difference between Andre, the joint stock, and the corporate colony, the corporate and proprietary colony, is that the corporate colony is founded by a company that is trying to make money.